You say you haven't been the same since you had your little crash, but you might feel better if they gave you some cash. The more I think about it, old Billy was right. Let's kill all the lawyers, kill them tonight.
Hey, man.
Hey, sorry, Blake. Tied up on the phone.
That's okay. That's
All right.
okay. It's Friday.
Here it is again. It's time for.
I'm C Mark,
I'm John Mark.
and this is Two Marks and
One mic.
and
Or two marks, one mic.
Two Marks, One Mike. Is that
Hey,
right?
That's it.
We've been hitting topics about car accidents and getting treatment and notifying the insurance company. And today we're going to talk about People's Court. I don't know if you remember People's Court when I was in law school. Judge Waltner was
Yes.
it was a very popular show where two people would show up without lawyers. And then have a little minor dispute, and Judge Waltner would listen to both sides and make a ruling.
And when we say people's court, we mean that in the most respectful way, because
Yeah.
this is a venue and a forum where people may not need an attorney. Now, there's some cases if you're down there, if it's a corporation, for example, has to have an attorney, but there's some cases that are in general sessions court that people can handle on their own.
And it's called General Sessions Court, and it's located on Market Street,
Right.
and the court clerk staff are very helpful. If you would walk in and say someone owes you money, or someone sold you a bad car and you want your money back, there's a debt that you want collected, People's Court would be the way to go if the matter is less than $25,000.
Yeah, and the clerk and staff down in General Sessions Court are extremely helpful. Now, they can't give you legal advice, but they can certainly assist you in how to get things filed.
For example, if you walk in there and you ask the court, I want to sue somebody that owes me money, and they owe me $5,000, they will actually assist you in giving you the piece of paper
Yes.
that you can handwrite out.
That's right.
You handwrite your name, and you must know the name and the address of the person that you're suing.
It's all in a form, and there's a blank that you complete as to just a brief description of the facts
Right.
and what you're suing for. So it kind of gives the court a basis. It's really considered an oral court, even though there's a document that starts it that's actually
Right.
written.
It's not a court of record.
Not a
It's
court of record. That's what I mean by oral court or oral
It's not a
pleadings.
court of record.
Even though there's a general
Yeah.
a summons that you have to have.
And so you
Civil warrant, excuse me.
civil warrant, and so you fill out the civil warrant. The sheriff will serve the civil warrant on the address and name that you gave, and then it will pop up on docket call on a Monday.
That's right.
Right? And you show up to docket call 11 o'clock on a Monday, and if the other side does not show up, guess what?
You
You
can
win.
you can take your default.
You take a judgment.
Now the civil warrant will have a date for that initial appearance.
Right.
It'll be assigned by the people there in the court.
Right.
They'll tell you which date that it will be. So they're very, very helpful in doing that. Now
Yeah.
there's some cases if you have over there in Sessions Court, you're still probably going to need an attorney.
Right.
Those disputes like that between individuals certainly
Sure,
do that.
sure.
Car wrecks can be a little more problematic.
Yeah.
Because you have to have a certain way you have to prove your medical bills and expenses.
Sure. But even a car wreck case, if there's no medical bills incurred, and you're just talking about property damage,
Yes.
and the other guy doesn't have insurance,
Yes.
and you kind of want to get your property damage, you can show up and get it. And if the other side does not show up on a Monday at 11 o'clock, it's a default judgment. You win, and you get a judgment for the amount that you want, and the judge will approve it there.
And under Tennessee law, you as owner of that vehicle, you are competent to testify as to the value of that vehicle.
Right.
So you can't testify about the value of your cousin's vehicle or a friend's vehicle, and they can't testify about the value of yours. But you are competent to testify about, my car was worth $10,000
Right.
before this crash. And now in its damaged state, it's worth $2,500.
Right.
Your damages are then $7,500. So
Right.
that's what you have to do. You have
Yeah.
to show the before and after value, not the cost
Right.
of the repairs.
Yeah, and this is something that now, if the other side does show up at 11 o'clock on a Monday, that's when you get a court date.
That's right.
You get a court date, and then you show up on a court. The court will assign you a court date, a 9 o'clock court date. Later on in the future, as far as Tuesday through Friday is when they have courts in General Session Court, and you can show up then. And then here we go with the Judge Wampner, where you're the plaintiff, they're the defendant. You state your case, they state their case, and the judge will render an opinion from the bench.
Now, let me tell you, we are more than happy if anybody has questions about General Sessions Court. Like I said, the clerk and the support staff over there are very, very
Right.
good. But if you have any questions about any of these kind of claims, we'll be happy to talk to you.
Absolutely.
And tell you what needs to be done as
Yeah.
far as walking you through the filing process and whether you could do it with or without an
Sure,
attorney.
sure.
If you need an attorney for something that we don't handle, we can help refer you to an attorney that will handle it for you. If it's something that we handle and we believe you need an attorney, we're happy to represent you.
So, number one, you can get a default judgment in people's court if they don't show up. If they do show up, you'll get a court date with the judge, and you show up and you go to court on that court date. I suggest if you go up there on a Monday at 11 o'clock and the party that you sued shows up with a lawyer, you better lawyer up also.
Absolutely.
And so that happens as well. This has been 2 Marks and
One mic,
See
or
you
2
next
marks,
time.
1 mic. See you next week.